Okay, so today's video, I'm installing the rings on the piston. I have them all laying down here. We got you can kind of see it down here on the paper. So we have a top ring, first ring, second ring. These are little spacer rings. There's two of those. I actually already started putting these on. These are little spacer rings because I already put one of them on, and so this is the oiling ring. You can see how it's kind of squiggly shaped, and it has one of the little spacer rings under it. I'm going to put a second one on top of that little spacer, or on top of the little oiling ring. So these don't matter the orientation. What does matter is the orientation of the other rings. So we're going to set this right on top of the little oiling ring. I'm just going to work this around and get it into the groove. Like so. And you can see these rings, they kind of stick out past the surface of the piston, but that's okay. We're going to compress them whenever we put it into the cylinder. Actually, the piston will go back onto the connecting rod, and then the jug slides over top of the piston rings, compressing them. And the way that works is the bottom, so here's the jug, or the cylinder. The bottom of it has this taper on it right here around the edge. As you slide this over your piston and rings, it actually compresses the rings so that they fit tight into the cylinder. So I already put the head together. I was going to show you that, but I forgot. I got a little bit in a hurry. So I got the springs all back on, the valves back in. I leak tested them after lapping them. I showed you that on a video. And then I changed out the valve seals on here. The valve seals seal up around the valves to the valve stems, keeps oil from going around the valves and getting into the cylinder. So I have a little book over here that tells me, my manual tells me on the piston rings, I have my top ring, and if you look at the top ring has a little chamfer right here on this back corner, and the bottom second ring is actually square. So it gives you an orientation so you know which way to put it in. It also gives you degrees on here where you clock the opening of the ring. So every ring has a little opening, like the top one is right here. The second ring, we're going to clock it 120 degrees and put it back here. And then we have our little oiler ring, and then our spacer rings, we're going to clock those 120 degrees apart also. So kind of gives you an idea which way those go. So the next ring we're going to put on, we're actually going to put the second ring on. So that's going to be the one that's got a sharp inner corner. We're going to look at our rings. So the rings have a T on them. Ooh, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a T right on top. T for top. And then this ring, again, I don't know if you can quite see that. It's not super clear. Let's see if I can focus that for you. There's a T on the top of that ring also. So I'm just looking at my rings because I want to make sure I have the correct ring. So the second ring shows that it's the square ring. That would be this guy. And then this ring, they're so damn small. I'm literally just trying to look under the light so I can see the little taper on it. Boy, that's hard to see. Okay. Again, I'm just looking under the light It's not very wonderful to sit and listen to, but you get the idea. Stand by. I was just reading. So this is going to be our second ring. So what we're going to do is just start that ring. I don't care about the orientation right now, because once I get them installed, I can clock them accordingly. So what I'm trying to do is just get this into the groove nice and easy like that. So once I get it started, I can just kind of spread this apart, trying not to overdo it, and then trying to be careful not to score up the outside of the piston. I'm going to get that around there like that. Get this guy down to here. Okay, there's our second ring in. Now we're going to put the top ring in. Again, I'm going to double check that bevel. So the bevel goes up. So I can see that. It's got a T. It also has a bevel so that I know that I have the correct ring. Same thing. I'm going to start it into the groove. Push it in there. Kind of work my way around. Pop that guy in there. Skeet, skeet. And there we go. So if we look to clock things, we have an I is for intake. This is the intake side of the piston. So if we look at our manual, it actually references, using that as a reference mark, it shows our compression ring, or our oiling rings. Let's see where they at here. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for the gap in the little oiling rings, and then I will clock them accordingly. All right, I got them almost 120 degrees apart on accident. So we're going to continue to turn these rings, get them over here to the where it's marked intake. I need my little probe, helps to kind of move things around. Again, all I'm doing is trying to get this rotated around. This is being a little bit challenging. Okay. Here's our intake side. And our top one is about 120 degrees, or our bottom one. We're going to get our top one to about 120 degrees. This does not have to be perfect, but it just gives you an idea where they need to be. And then there's a little gap in this oiling ring somewhere right here. Because this actually, the little oiling ring is actually split like the rest of the rings. So what I'm doing is just pulling it apart till it snaps in there together. Put our little top ring back in there. I'm actually going to rotate that around because I don't want that groove. Well, you can kind of see that there, that little oiling ring kind of popped out. We're just going to move that around. So all I'm doing is kind of grabbing it and rotating it around. I just don't want that groove. I would like it 180 degrees away from where our little spacer rings go. And it's painted, so I drug it a little too far. Okay, there, we got it over on this side. Again, I'm going to pull these rings apart, this little oiling ring apart, so it snaps into its spot. There we go. Get this little guy back down in there where he belongs. Do a little bit more rotation and alignment of these little rings. So you kind of get the idea. I'm not going to bore you a whole lot. All I'm going to do is align these, like I said, 120 degrees apart, and we'll be in good shape on the piston rings. So once I get ready to put the other stuff together, I'll make you another video. Okay, see you later.